Hey everybody, I'm going to do a walkthrough of the backyard. I'm in Houston, Texas, zone 9A. And I'm really starting on the very not exciting driveway, but I've got a lot of climbing roses going. Some of them have been here for a long time, and a lot of them I have replanted. So I've got climbing iceberg, I've got Mrs. B.R. Cant, which is what this one is, although this is it's hot outside and I'm on the driveway sized rose. Usually they're 3 times as big as that. And then this is Felicia, and it's struggling. It's so hot here in Houston, and so they're struggling a little bit. And I think this is a super hot place to be, but they're new in the last year and a half, and so we're hoping that they'll really take over. And then this is where I get to speak philosophy. I don't know what's eating this, but somebody said, I don't know who it was, but I heard it for the first time this year: if something isn't eating your plants, you're not part of the ecosystem. And so I am learning to let go and just let those be eaten up. And I can always trim them back. But that's new. New for me. Got some succulents over here and some new in the last year, in the last couple of months. This is more of that Mrs. B.R. Cant, and it's a little happier, I think, on this side. This gets morning sun over here. And we're training that. I'm hoping that that will get trained up here and then over, so it'll go across the top of that bench. And then this is, I think, my new favorite zinnia, which is Profusion Cherry Bicolor. Oh my goodness, I have not deadheaded this. I grew it from seed. I haven't deadheaded it. I really don't water it. We're in the middle of a drought, and it's just looked this good just for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and I don't see any time. I don't see it stopping anytime. That's my new favorite, zinnia. And then I kind of skip pots today mostly. I've had to put a lot of things in the shade. I popped this back here for the video, but this got moved. It was just getting fried in a half day, 3/4 day sun. But it looks so pretty in front of that dark green foliage of the pretty parasol coneflower. And then I've got this sort of renegade salmon colored zinnia. That's the first one I've seen that was that color over here. They've mostly been more medium pink, but that's kind of fun. And as always, this Tutti Frutti Agastache is beautiful. And then the Buddleia over there, and I'll look up, I do have the variety name of that, and I'll look it up and put it in the comments section. I highly recommend it. It's a dwarf variety, but it's gotten about 6 feet tall. These Cleome, I left them. They're ratty plants, but the flowers are pretty, so I've kind of left them. It's a cool enough plant. I've left it, but you know, it's got its, you can see it's got its issues with powdery mildew, and it's getting a little crispy in the heat. It's been over 100 every day this week, or several days this week, and I think everything is struggling in Houston, probably in all of Texas. These coneflowers just keep going and keep going. I'm hoping that they can take the whole summer of heat. I planted an heirloom variety of jalapenos, hoping to get something with heat in it. I can't get anything spicy in the grocery store lately, and these ended up not being spicy either. So, and this one was rejected by what I can only assume was a curious raccoon. And then I just planted, I normally wouldn't plant anything in this kind of heat, but I lost my head and bought daylilies online. And so I just put them in the ground. They came in the mail, and I just put them in the ground. So they basically didn't have any really much to wilt. They're mostly just the corms. I can't remember what they're called, but I pulled out, this is that Salvia Misty, which I really started watching it. It gets its bud like this. It gets bigger and it blooms at the bottom. You can see on this one, it got a couple of blooms, and then the top never bloomed, and it just dries up and curls over without ever the top blooming. So I will only, like on here, you can almost count the flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4. See 4 spent flowers on that whole thing, but this rest of this never bloomed. And so I just started ripping it out. It really doesn't. I've watched it and watched it, getting it extra water, giving it extra fertilizer, and it just doesn't bloom well. I'm surprised they sell it. That's how bad it is. And then we had a little giant swallowtail bopping around here this week, and there you can see a little giant swallowtail egg right there, that little yellow dot. And there's several on here. And this is the fennel I've got in here, and it looks so ratty. I propped it up. It looks so ratty, but I'm afraid if I cut any of the things that normally as a gardener I would cut off, I might accidentally throw away an egg or a caterpillar if they're tiny and I didn't see them. So, and then there's more. There's rue that they will eat. There's a bronze fennel that they will eat. This is parsley that needs trimming out, but they really seem to like the flowers. You can see where they've eaten the whole flower on that parsley, so I really want to leave that parsley in there. And these coneflowers have looked really great. This one started to get powdery mildew, and I just cut it almost to the ground and left the nicest little leaves, and it's kind of popping back up. It's not, as beautiful as its neighbor, but it seemed like the only way to really get around that whole powdery mildew problem with coneflower was just to, cut off anything that's infected. And when the whole plant started looking a little iffy, I just cut most of it to the ground and just took the whole thing out. And so it seems to have survived that treatment. And then I love these little scabiosa pincushion flowers. And I didn't expect them to be this tall. I grew them from seed, and the ones I bought at the store were like, I don't know, 12 inches tall, and these are 36 inches tall. So I don't know what to do with that. I'm just gonna let it go. That coneflower is holding it up right now, so I'm just gonna let that keep going. And here's a big view. A lot of tall things. I've pulled out pretty much all the cosmos. There's one really good looking cosmos plant, one plant right here, and that's everything else I think has been pulled out. All the other cosmos has been pulled out. This Verbena is doing really well. There was a pond incident I won't cover in this video. I fell in, raccoons have been in it. It's a long story. These daylilies have been going and going and going. I've still got a few more days of them, I think, and I've really been just thrilled to have them. I don't think they've ever had this many flowers and bloomed this long before, and so I'm super happy with that. And then I've got a daylily I bought last year, and this is really the first time it's blooming for us. This is the first bloom today, pale yellow. I've got several plants coming up. They're not as tall as the good old internet told me they would be when I bought them. I'm hoping that they just need to be mature, and maybe next year they'll be tall enough to peek over. I trimmed this rose back just so that I could see the daylilies. Hopefully they'll be taller next year, bigger plants. All the little coneflower, it's a white coneflower in here. And then I love this thread leaf coreopsis. And then Souvenir de Saint Anne. Really beautiful. And then this little salvia is doing just what I hoped, which was to have that bright, bright blue pop out here. And I like it in combination with the daisy-shaped yellow flower and the just striking blue spike. I think that's really pretty. This Gulf Muley grass is finally getting as tall as I hoped it would be. I hope it will still get another, gosh, foot taller maybe, or just bushier. But it's blooming a little bit, and it's looking better than I have had it before. And then this rose right here is Caldwell Pink, and that's gonna pop out. It's got lots of buds on it. And then the Peter's Purple Monarda, which was such the star of the show for a couple of weeks, all pooped out, and I trimmed it way back really hard, and it looks pretty sad right now. But that left room for this other salvia. This is called Big Blue. I bought it because I couldn't find Mystic Spires. Indigo Spires was too tall and floppy. I really wanted Mystic Spires last year and I couldn't find it. So I bought this, highly recommended by the nursery. It's a few inches taller than Mystic Spires. And I thought, well, okay, a couple of 6 inches taller be fine. But it's really brittle. And so you can see it's just all broken off, fallen over. It's gonna bloom and it's very pretty. I know I've had a whole family of raccoons traipsing through and they have tended to break some things off. But this is not what I was expecting in the beginning of the summer. So I've trimmed some of it back, but I'm not impressed, and I'm afraid I'm gonna maybe go back. I hate to do it 3 years in a row. Ripped out one purple salvia, too tall. Now I'm ripping out maybe a second salvia because it's too breakable, and try to find that Mystic Spires, which is the one I have in the front yard, which is really reliable and stands upright. Nothing in the front yard looks like this. It hasn't fallen over at all, and that's what I was hoping this would be, but just a little bigger. So I'm pretty unhappy with this. But you know, it's covered in buds, so I'm not good at cutting back things that are flowering with buds, but probably what I ought to do is go back in here and just whack this down to, you know, 10 inches high and let it start again. But it would leave such a big hole. I'm getting ready to have, this is Souvenir de la Malmaison. It's one of my favorites. It's getting crowded out here, but it's obviously got enough sun going to maybe give me some pretty flowers. And then this grass is looking really great. And then we've got this one carrot that's just got this little ball bobbing around, doing its little best there, just living its life. I love seeing it from the house. And then I've got this one pink zinnia, again, just chugging along. All the other zinnias out here pooped out. I hadn't had any other of this variety even bloom, but look at that, incredible. I think this might be the cactus, one of those cactus varieties. It clearly has less mildew. It still has powdery mildew, but it has got less of a problem than the others, but I really like that. And then I trimmed this carrot back, and it's starting to, ooh, something jumped off of that. Big, oh, it was a lizard. So that's getting ready to bloom again. I think that's really cute, pretty. And then these, probably ought to let them go, but that's Zinnia Envy, but I do like seeing them from the house. And then here you can see I've sort of trimmed up the buddleia to give it a little space underneath. I don't really want it to look like a tree, but I think it would look nice if I had, you know, sort of lifted it a little bit. So I may do a little more of that. These are those, what what is it called? Little blue stem that I planted in here. One's just been straight up died, and the other two look miserable. The ones I planted on the other side of the yard look fine. I don't know why these are so unhappy, but I'm just glad that you have to climb back in to see this sad area. This is getting ready to bloom. Just starting to see the little stalks. We'll see the flowers, I bet, in the next week. Got a couple of late bloomers here on the agapanthus. There's one last little here. This one's starting to bloom. A last little baby popping up there. So the agapanthus has been all right. And then I trimmed back the scabiosa. It just looked like it needed a big haircut. And then it sort of acted like maybe it's gonna die on me. I don't know what I did wrong to anger the scabiosa, but yeah, it does not look great. And here I thought I was just being a good plant person and giving it a nice little trim. This Salvia leucantha is getting kind of thinning out a little bit. You know, I can really see through it. It's gotten kind of tall lately. It may be time to do the old Chelsea chop. This one, again, starting to flop over. I think it's just been so hot. I think it's all struggling. Everything sort of got its own little struggles. Salvia uliginosa. It's probably about time. Let's see if I can get it to be in focus. So pretty. It's about time probably to trim all of that back. You can see all the little spikes waving around, but it's nice to have a little movement in the yard, in the garden. Fire spike, bigger and bigger every time I see it. Oh, there she is. Hello, Mrs. My favorite little things, just bopping along. So pretty. Trying to protect the pipe vine down there, keep the pipe vine swallowtails from putting new babies on it, and trying to let it grow back and let the current babies have a snack. You can see now I've put so many pots. I've got extra pots here. Now I've got pots here and here because they were just frying. Even the succulents were just frying in the sun in my little succulent theater that was usually out in the middle of all that gravel, and they just were frying. And so I moved them all into the shade. My husband helped me. I love this. I trimmed it back pretty hard a couple weeks ago, and it's finally popping back out. And the same here. This begonia I trimmed back really hard, and it's come back. These little guys I bought with the buds on them. I swear I haven't seen any of them actually open. They just seem to like sit there like little balloons. I don't know what's happening, but they're still on there. So I've put a bunch of things that aren't usually out here. Here's a check-in if you saw my pot video. They're still, you know, still kicking here. I don't know, this one's, oops. I'm not sure that one's gonna, oh gosh, no, that's just trash. But these look like maybe they're gonna make it. Ugh, that was not good. Of course, the shade is doing pretty well. in the heat. Here's that balloon milkweed. Oh my goodness, I'm just now seeing this. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Balloon milkweed has popped open. The seed pod has popped open. And look at all the seeds. Oh my goodness. Ha! Look at that. Oh my gosh. And they're all this silky, you know, it's like a dandelion. Look at that. That's crazy. And it's just soft as it can be. That's really fun. Well, I'm gonna be free. Oof, they're a little sticky. And then I've got a little perennis milkweed here that's doing really nicely. That's a native milkweed. This one is a non-native, although in my defense, I thought it was native when I bought it. In that daylily buying spree, there was another variety that said it's called Storm Warning. It's going to be a really deep maroon. They said it's such a dark color that you might actually want to give it part shade, and so that's what I've put here. I just put them in the ground yesterday from the refrigerator. They've already turned green. They've probably already grown a ½ an inch literally since yesterday coming out of the refrigerator drawer. I wasn't able to plant them the day I got them, and so I'm excited. I'm not expecting any flowers this year, but that would be a bonus. These, I don't know the variety name, have been incredible. I'm trying to get the video to tell you what color they really are. They're sort of a peach colored, and they don't really, they're the ones I bought by accident, and they don't really match my color scheme, but they're so beautiful. I just can't give them up. And then here's a star of the show. Oh, Mrs. Doubtfire says, I'm the star of the show. Hello. This is that grass I bought that I didn't realize didn't have a tag until I brought it home. I don't know what variety it is, but it has gone nuts, and it is so beautiful. And then back in the back, my orange-free garden, there is crocosmia that is bloomed for the first time, possibly ever, bright orange. So I'll admit that I have cut some off and just brought it in the house. I love orange flowers, just not in this particular garden. And then I've got this rose back here, this sweet Hermione, and I'm hoping it's getting covered up a little bit by this agastache, and it doesn't look terrific, but it's going to flower for me, so I'm hoping that'll be really pretty in a couple weeks. This is another one of those brand new yellow daylilies. It's the same variety as I showed a minute ago, and the foliage has gotten rust on it, so it looks pretty pitiful, but I'm going to wait for it to bloom and then maybe trim a bunch of that back. The agastache looks really pretty. And then this back here behind this amaryllis is something called fleece flower, and I had never grown it. It's got another name. I'm not sure what it is, but it's got these red stems, and then the more sun it has, the more purple the leaves have. And then it's got these, it's not a great looking example, but it's got little white flowers, little puffs of white flower. And I bought that last fall, and it seems happy there. It's really pretty. And then my little side garden. Here's the little blue stem that seems fine, and my super classy boxes that I use to keep the heat from the generator when it does its test run every week for 15 minutes off of the grasses, off the plants. This is purple hyacinth bean vine. And I see it, there's some pods. The pods are purple. Let's see, beautiful purple. I've seen, there's one that I didn't pull off in time. Let's see if I can pop it open and show you. It's the coolest, most beautiful seed. There it is. Black seed with a big white edge on it. I think that's the coolest seed. And honestly, they come up so easily. This is something, if you're looking for something for your kindergarten class to plant, this becomes that really quickly and really easily. My little Texas kidney wood here, just reaching for the sky past all of this nonsense. I need to trim back. And I've got a little Cape Plumbago that's never been particularly happy here, but hopefully, and it's blooming, so that's better than it usually has been over the years. More of this by the air conditioner. Sorry for the noise. And then I've got more. This is a slightly different variety. It's a little more red than orange. Procosmia. And it's beautiful. It's just starting. It's got really pretty flower scapes, in my opinion. Can't get it to be in focus there, but anyway. I think those are really beautiful. Little scapes. Well, thanks for sticking with me if you're still here. It's like the longest video I've ever made in my life. And I'll end on this incredible begonia in a pot. I hope y'all have a great night. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying it. Bye-bye.